In this segment, I'll be discussing about valence bond theory of coordination compounds. What is the need for valence bond theory in coordination compounds? Because Werner's theory was not able to answer certain questions. What are those questions? Why only certain elements possess the remarkable property of forming coordination compounds? Why the bonds in coordination compounds have directional properties? Why coordination compounds have characteristic magnetic and optical properties? So, these questions were not answered by Werner's theory, and hence valence bond theory, crystal field theory, ligand field theory, molecular orbital theory came into effect to answer these questions. And in this chapter, we will be discussing about valence bond theory and crystal field theory. Here in this segment, I will be discussing about valence bond theory. According to valence bond theory, the metal atom or ion under the influence of ligand can use its n-1d, ns, np or ns, np, nd orbitals for hybridization to yield a new set of equivalent orbitals of definite geometry such as octahedral, tetrahedral, square planar and so on. These hybrid orbitals, they are allowed to overlap with ligand orbitals that can donate electron pairs for bonding. First, let us discuss about octahedral complexes, and in octahedral complexes, we are going to discuss about inner orbital complex, which is otherwise known as low spin complex or spin paired complex. Let us see the example, that is CO NH3 6 3+. This is an example of octahedral complex which comes under inner orbital complex, which is otherwise known as low spin complex or spin pair complex. The name of the complex is hexamine cobalt 3 ion. Here, if you see the complex CONH3 6 3+, cobalt is the central metal ion, NH3 is found to be the ligand. Okay, no counter ion is here, so we are having the charge. If you see the atomic number of cobalt, it is found to be 27. The atomic number of cobalt is found to be 27. So the electronic configuration is 3d7 4s2. The charge of the central metal ion is found to be 3+. You can ask me how the charge of the ion is 3+, because NH3 is found to be a neutral ligand. Therefore, the charge is found to be 0. So, the oxidation state of CO is found to be CO3+. Okay. So, normally, the electronic configuration of cobalt is 3d7 4s2. Here, CO3+ means 3 electrons will be removed from cobalt. So, 2 electrons will be removed from s orbital and 1 from d orbital. So, now the electronic configuration for cobalt is found to be 3d6. Okay, under the influence of ligands, what happens over here is the electron gets paired up. So here, these 2 electrons gets paired up with these 2 electrons, and we are having 2 empty d orbitals. Here, in this complex, 6 pairs of electrons. Here, the d orbital, 2 vacant d orbital and 1 s orbital, and D2 sp3, 3 p orbitals, D2 sp3. They join together to form the D2 sp3 hybridized orbitals. 6 pairs of electrons, one from, that is, each NH3 molecule occupy the 6 hybrid orbitals. So this complex, it is having an octahedral geometry, and it is found to be diamagnetic in nature. This is because of unpaired electron, absence of unpaired electron. This is because of the absence of unpaired electron. In the formation of this complex, you see here, in the formation of this complex, CONH3 6 pairs of electrons from this, each from, one from each NH3 molecule. Okay, over here, that is D2 sp3 hybridization. Here, this complex uses the inner d orbital for hybridization. Therefore, it is known as inner orbital or low spin or spin paired complex. Spin paired complex means no unpaired electron, absence of unpaired electron. Okay. This is found to be diamagnetic. CONH363 plus. This complex is found to be diamagnetic in nature and it is found to be having an octahedral geometry, and in that octahedral geometry this is known as inner orbital complex or low spin complex or spin pair complex. D2sp3 hybridization, octahedral complex which is otherwise known as low spin complex or spin pair complex because of the absence of electrons, unpaired electrons. Let's discuss an example of outer orbital complex which is otherwise known as high spin complex or spin free complex, COF6 3-. This is having an octahedral geometry. 6 ligands are present. If 6 ligands are present, we know that this complex will have an octahedral geometry, and we are supposed to predict whether it is an inner orbital complex or outer orbital complex. Here it was clearly given that it is an outer orbital complex. We know the atomic number of cobalt is 27, electronic configuration 3d7 4s2. The charge of CO is found to be 3 plus, so 3 electrons are removed, 2 electrons from s orbital and 1 from d orbital. So till this you are clear with. Then next comes, you can ask me why this complex is known as an outer orbital complex, why not inner orbital complex. The electrons which are present in the d orbital, they did not get paired up, they remain as such. So what happens for hybridization? S orbital, 1 s orbital, 3 p orbitals and 2 d orbitals are taken. Here you can see 2d, that is d orbitals are taken. So 1 s orbital, 3 p orbitals, 2 d orbitals, they are taken. So here sp3d2, outer d orbitals are involved in hybridization. That's why this is known as, this complex is known as outer orbital complex or high spin complex or otherwise spin free complex. This is known as spin free complex because here we are having unpaired electrons. This is the reason. So COF6 3-, this is found to be an outer orbital complex. This is having an octahedral geometry and this is a high spin complex and this is also known as spin free complex. Let's see examples for tetrahedral as well as square planar complexes. Here if you see nickel, here we are going to discuss about, let's see the examples for tetrahedral complex and square planar complex. Here we are having the complex NiCl4 2-. We know the atomic number for nickel is found to be 28 and nickel is in +2 oxidation state. The electronic configuration here is found to be 3d8. In tetrahedral complexes, here the electrons do not get paired up. So it might, we assume that this is found to be a tetrahedral complex because 4 ligands are present over here. In tetrahedral complexes, 1s and 3p orbitals, they are hybridized to form 4 equivalent orbitals which is oriented tetrahedrally, and here it is shown over here. Okay, in the diagram it's clearly shown. Here nickel is in +2 oxidation state and the ion has the electronic configuration of 3d8, and this is the diagram for sp3 hybridization. Each Cl- ion, it donates a pair of electrons and the compound is found to be paramagnetic in nature because it contains 2 unpaired electrons. And if you consider NiCO4, it is found to have a nickel tetracarbonyl complex. It is found to have a tetrahedral geometry and it is found to be diamagnetic. This is because nickel over there, it is in the 0 oxidation state and contains no unpaired electron. That's why NiCO4 is, in NiCO4 it is found to be a tetrahedral complex, but nickel is in the 0 oxidation state. Here NiCl4 2-, nickel is in +2 oxidation state, but this complex is found to be a tetrahedral complex. One example, let us discuss for square planar complexes. Here also we are having 4 ligands. That means the complex may be tetrahedral or square planar, but we know we have identified this as square planar complex. By the end of the segment, I will tell you why this is NaCN4 2- complex is known as a square planar complex. If you see here nickel, it is in +2 oxidation state, so we are having 3d8 as the configuration, and here nickel is in +2 oxidation state. This is the hybridization scheme for NaCN4 2-. Okay. Here what happens? What is the difference between NaCl4 2- and NaCN4 2-? In the case of NaCl4 2-, the electrons, they did not get paired up, whereas in the case of NaCN4 2-, the electrons, they do get paired up. And each of the hybridized orbital, they receive a pair of electrons from cyanide ion. The compound is found to be diamagnetic because absence of unpaired electron, and it is important to note that the hybrid orbitals do not actually exist. And you all know that hybridization is a mathematical manipulation of wave equation for the atomic orbitals involved. I'll discuss the limitations of valence bond theory. Valence bond theory, it explains the formation, structures and magnetic behavior of coordination compounds. But it too has its own shortcomings. What are the shortcomings of valence bond theory? That is, it involves a number of assumptions and it does not give quantitative interpretation of magnetic data, and it does not, complexes are found to be colored, but it was not explained by valence bond theory. And valence bond theory does not make exact predictions regarding the tetrahedral and square planar structures of 4 coordinate complexes. That's why I said, if you see the complex, whether it is NaCl4 2- or NaCN4 2-, you cannot predict whether it is an tetrahedral complex, whether it is a tetrahedral complex or a square planar complex. They have given, so we are learning. But this is the major drawback, because valence bond theory did not explain why NaCN4 2- is found to be a square planar complex. Why not NaCl4 2-? This is a major drawback. And moreover, valence bond theory does not distinguish between weak ligand and strong ligands. These are the limitations.